Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. It's Sunday. Gloomy here today, but not too cold. Just cloudy, and they said rain, but we haven't got any yet, so I don't know what that, when we're supposed to get it, but oh well. Anyway, it's difficult. Friendships are difficult. And when you have friendships, what you get sometimes is more aggravation than, enjoyment of it, a friendship. And, I guess a lot of us would probably understand, that, we find something we have in common, but at the end, or at least after a while, it doesn't seem like it's enough that you just have this one thing in common. I'm not saying I'm going through anything like that now, but I have a friend who's going through that with one of his friends. And so, he's been writing to me and telling me what's been going on. And it's like, geez, that's why I don't have too many friends around, because the drama of friendship sometimes can be overwhelming, and I feel like, I don't really need that. I'm a person that likes, peace and quiet. I'm a person that likes to have me time, because, I like to write stories. I like to, play my guitar. I like to do things just for me. And that involves, not being distracted, okay? Whatever it is I'm doing, painting, making stuff, whatever it is that I'm doing. I don't like being distracted. And a lot of times it just seems to take up a lot of the time when I'm feeling inspired to do something. I don't want to be distracted with friends. So the fewer I have, the better the chances are limited to being distracted, except for Smokey here. All right, even doing this here, these videos, I don't like distraction. So it dislodges my train of thought. But friendships are difficult for different reasons for different people, I guess. And it's really essential, I guess, if you could find that kind of a friend that you do have more than one thing in common, okay? Because believe me, if you only have one thing in common and all you talk about is that one thing, you're going to lose your fucking mind. After a while, you're not going to even be interested in that one thing anymore, okay? That's why it's good to meet people who have a lot of things in common with you, okay? So that way you don't feel like you're stuck talking about one thing all the time. And I've been around a lot of people in my life who had just that one issue, and after a while we ain't talking no more. So I think with my friend who's having this problem, I think that was probably the reason, from what I understand from what he wrote to me, that they just have this one thing in common, and I think they're just getting tired of each other because that's all they ever talk about. And I'm going to name what it is that thing is, but I'm just saying that sometimes it takes more than just that. So I don't know, I wanted to say something about that. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. Anyway, I got a couple of videos, and each one is not very long. I think each one is 10 minutes long. And this first one is from Miranda Scholl at Rebel HQ, and she brought up something that I barely recall being mentioned and forgot about. But there's a bill that's been reintroduced. It was passed in 2014, and I can't remember what happened to it, but it was reintroduced this year, and it's about women being denied the right to vote over some technicality about, you know, if you change your fucking name and something like that, you know, all of a sudden now you can't vote because you don't, your birth certificate doesn't match the name change. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's go to that video, and then we'll talk about that on the other side.
That has changed your name from your birth certificate, let's say through marriage, and you took your husband's name, you are no longer eligible to vote if this bill passes the Senate. It's already passed the House. So wake up.
I am sure you have seen the SAVE Act come up on your TikTok feed, your Instagram feed, your Twitter feed, your YouTube feed, anywhere. I'm sure you have already seen people like this person right here discussing the SAVE Act. It's horrifying. It was introduced last year in an effort to keep illegal immigrants from voting in our elections, which they can't, because you can't vote unless you're a citizen of the United States. It's already illegal. You can't do that. But it was introduced to prevent that from happening, to further safeguard our elections. And what it really does is, one, it requires you to register in person. So if you're elderly, if you're disabled, kick rocks. Two, it would require you to register to vote with one of two documents, a passport or a birth certificate. So for upwards of 69 million American women who either don't have access to those documents or have changed their name since they married their husband or wife, it would mean you can't vote because your current legal name does not match your birth certificate.
69 million women have changed their last name from their birth certificate and would be ineligible to vote. This bill also requires that you have to register to vote in person. Doesn't matter if you're elderly, disabled, doesn't matter, in person. And a driver's license will no longer do. You have to have a passport or your birth certificate.
Now, the progress of this bill is a little wonky. I've seen lots of different information that's all not necessarily incorrect, but maybe a little misleading unintentionally. This bill seems like it was just introduced because it's been reintroduced. This bill was actually introduced in the summer of 2024, where it did pass in the House. And then it was blocked in the Senate and it kind of fell off. It has been reintroduced and is under review for the House once again. So while it did pass in the House last year, it has to pass in the House again before it can even reach the Senate one more time. That is our silver lining. However, things are, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but things are worse than they were last year, especially in regards to women. So the likelihood of it passing in both the House and the Senate seems like it could be a better possibility this year than it was last year.
I think as well. I think this video has made me rethink the 19th Amendment, but let's keep it going.
So I guess they misunderstood. When we said we wanted male-only voting, we meant male, M-A-L-E.
This bill would not prevent any undocumented immigrants from voting because they already can't vote. It's already illegal. They don't have government-issued identification documents. They don't have a driver's license here. They can't vote. But it is voter suppression of people who are American citizens. Not only is it essentially repealing the 19th Amendment for a lot of women in this country without actually repealing the 19th Amendment, but people who come from low income and disadvantaged communities who don't have access to their birth certificate, don't have a passport, would also be barred from voting, even if they have a government-issued ID or driver's license.
Enter the SAVE Act. I drafted that bill in the spring alongside our good friends, Stephen Miller, our good friends, Hans von Spakovsky, Cleta Mitchell, other good friends of President Trump and patriots across the country who've been fighting for election integrity for years.
Drafted by Texas Representative Chip Roy with the help of the people from the Heritage Foundation and people who tried to help overturn the 2020 election results. In case you forgot, the Heritage Foundation drafted Project 2025. You know, the people who really don't want women to vote. And just as an added bonus, it keeps poor people out of being able to vote too. Especially since we know that communities of color are largely disenfranchised in this country. So people who are of color tend to come from those low-income disadvantaged communities because that is how our system is set up. It is designed to keep them down and keep them poor. So wealthy people, largely white people, largely the male people, are the ones that don't have to worry really about being affected by this. Remember when they kept saying, oh, you keep going after straight white men, rich white men. What more proof do you need for why we're picking on you? But don't worry, we'll get our voter base on board because we'll just blame it on every single immigrant that comes into this country because, you know, every single one of them is a violent criminal.
Mind-bending to me that in America, you could have gang members move into your building and take the place over and that nobody shows up. The police don't throw them out. The sheriff don't throw them out. How is this possible, Congressman?
This is what happens when you have an administration that is releasing people into the United States against current law. This is what happens when you have radical progressive Democrats in charge of the state in Colorado and in cities that create sanctuary cities. And then they try to ignore what's actually happening to real people. We have people dying. We have Texans dying. Lake and Riley in Georgia. We have Elizabeth Medina. We have in Maryland, you have Kayla Hamilton and Rachel Marin. I could go down the laundry list of Americans who've died, the 100,000 from fentanyl poisoning. My office issued a report yesterday entitled Border Invasion that you can find at roy.house.gov or on my social media, where we detail all of the damage. How about the 99 people on the terrorist watch list that were released?
How about the 1,500 violent rioters from January 6th that were released? How about them? Let's blame every single immigrant, and we'll get this to pass, but just the brown ones, like not like the white ones from Europe or anything like that. And then because of that fake problem that we created, because statistically immigrants are way less violent and crime-ridden than actual American citizens, then let's find a way to take away women's right to vote. It comes it makes sense if you don't think about it. One thing you can always be sure of, it is never about what it's about. It is just them trying to find loopholes for like they can't just repeal the 19th Amendment. So they're finding a way to restrict voting like they've done since the Jim Crow era so that they get what they want without technically repealing the amendment that allows you the right to vote. But they're going to practice voter suppression because they know how to do that really well, because unfortunately, they've had a lot of practice. And like most bad things in this country, its roots are founded in racism. They always started voter suppression because they wanted to prevent black people from voting once they were no longer enslaved. They couldn't just prevent them from vote. They couldn't just make a law that said black people can't vote. So they found another way to do it. To keep black people, well, the law says you can vote. You just got to follow the rules like everybody else. But the rules are slanted against you. That's what they're doing now to women and poor people. They've had a lot of practice doing it. Anyway, just keep in mind, it did pass in the House once. It does have to pass the House again before it can even be reintroduced to the Senate. It is currently under review. So call your representatives. I know everyone is saying that all the time, but it does make a difference. The influx of calls, it does make a difference. It is making your voice heard. So call your representative. Let them know how you feel about the SAVE Act and let them know you would like them to do something about it. Don't let it pass through. Make your voice heard.
It seems to me like the women who supported Trump, voted for Trump, like I said, the things that get passed through the government, and I said this yesterday, The things that get passed through government are not scalpels. They're bludgeons. They're sledgehammers. They affect everybody across the spectrum, political spectrum. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, okay? You think you vote Republican, that you're immune to anything that happens? No, you're not, okay? Anything that happens under the presidency affects everybody in the country, not just red or blue voters. And women who now, it would seem they'd have to have a birth certificate and a passport. You know, I don't know if women, if people are, how many people have had to go through the process of getting one. I have one, and it took months to get a passport. Okay, because you basically have to have all your certificates and birth certificate and everything else that proves you even exist. Okay, you have to have all these things to bring in order to have this thing made up. Okay, and it takes a while. It's not a quick process. Okay, months. It takes months to get that passport. But I did it because I wanted to go to Canada for a special event that was going on there, and I never had one until I tried to get that one. So I just decided I'm going to start the process now, because it wasn't going to happen for about 8 or 9 months. And wouldn't you know it, I got that passport just a month before I had to go. But yeah, so to ask people to do this is ridiculous, just to vote. I mean, you know, I could see, you know, having a birth certificate, okay, and some, you know, your driver's license and maybe an electric bill or something like that. Okay, I mean, a passport, you still have to have a birth certificate to get that, right? So, you know, why would you need to have that too? It's just another way of voter suppression, okay, to keep people from voting. And a lot of people who that are poor, or disabilities, or, you know, or something like that, you know, well, let me put it like this: people who have gone through a really bad event, like a wildfire went through their neighborhood, and they lost everything. What if these people can't get a birth certificate because they lost it in a fire or something like that? You know, I mean, think about the demand that's going to put on the system for hundreds and hundreds of people who have to go and get new birth certificates, you know, if they're not on file. I mean, I think, you know, this thing is only going to create a huge fucking disaster. It's going to make voting even more difficult, and a lot of people are just going to say, fuck it, I ain't voting, okay? And that's what Republicans want. They want people to just not vote, okay? Because the fewer people that do vote, the greater their chances of winning, because they know, and I've been saying this all along, there are way more Democrats in America than there are Republicans. It's always been that way. And the fewer people that vote, by and large, if they can keep as many from voting as they can, they'll figure that it's going to affect mostly Democrats. It doesn't matter how many Republicans it takes down, but, you know, they figure that their plan will affect more Democrats. So that's why they do this. Purging, sabotaging, and gerrymandering are the three things that Republicans like to do when it comes to voting. And purging is what this is, by denying women the right to vote. This is purging. And, you know, maybe it isn't just women too. I mean, you know, anyone, I guess, that goes and has their name changed or something like that would probably fall into that trap, where they can't vote because, oh, well, your name isn't the same as it was when you were born, and all this, that, you know. So maybe it isn't just the women, but the fact that, you know, that it's going to affect women, you know, when they get married, they change their name, you know what I'm saying? It would affect more women, I think, in that regard, because of marriage. And, you know, that's why I always say, why do people have to change their fucking last name? Why do women have to do that when they marry a guy? Okay, why doesn't the guy change his last name to the woman he marries? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Could somebody please answer that to me, where that started and why? Because I really never understood why anyone who gets married has to change their fucking name, okay? Maybe that goes all the way back to fucking ancient times, I don't know, but it doesn't seem to make much sense today, okay? A woman should not have to change her fucking name if she's not a blood relative of the goddamn person she's marrying. Why? Okay, it's stupid. It really is. You know, I don't know, but you know, somebody sat down and thought this out and figured, oh, you know, we can knock a lot of women off the voter rolls, and you know, and the only way they can win elections now or anything is by fucking with the vote. And it makes me wonder, you know, because they're still doing that now, it makes me wonder about the election we just had. I mean, if they are still so hell-bent on knocking more people off the voter rolls, then does that mean that the last election we had might have been impacted by, you know, the purging and the sabotaging and gerrymandering? And how honest was that result in the last election? You know? I'm not saying that there's any proof out there that says that there was shenanigans going on. I mean, certainly there were some irregularities that happened, but I don't think there was such a big thing that it, you know, I think any election is going to have a few mishaps or whatever that go on. Nothing's perfect, but you know, until somebody comes up with this big revelation, hey, you know, thousands and thousands of people were knocked off the voter, you know, I don't see how, you know, I can you know, expect to think that, you know, there wasn't something that went on. I mean, it's just, you know, it's always in the back of my mind, you know, when you think about how much Trump was hated after his first 4 years in office, that he lost to Biden by a fucking landslide. And all of a sudden he wins, you know, another term as a president. You know, you have to believe in a lot of other things in order for that to happen. And one of the things that we're expected to believe that it was a clean election. I don't know. But yes, people who have gone through disasters, you know, hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, whatever, their chances, you know, still having a birth certificate after that are slim. Such things like that are going to get lost, and that's going, and people won't realize it. I mean, if they pass this fucking bill, okay, then yeah, you're going to have to go and find your birth certificate. You need to get your ducks in a row, basically, before you have to vote again. And you might as well start the process. In fact, I would suggest that everybody in this country get a fucking passport. Really, think about it for a minute. Because with the passport, you can't get one without all the other information that the government here or the Republicans wants people to have. You can't get a fucking passport without all that stuff. So I would suggest, okay, that, you know, and plus it might save your life to have a passport. If people want to leave this country, you'll be able to do that. But I would suggest everybody, you know, start the process. Okay, I know I didn't encourage you, you know, by what I was saying about how long it took me, but at the end of the day, you'll have it, and it doesn't expire for a while. Okay, and you can, you know, people seem to want that passport more now than they ever did, and we're just living in America, and we're not going anywhere, and yet the demands on a passport are increasing. So I think everybody should have one, you know, go through the process. Just look it up online, Google it, how to get a passport, and it'll tell you step by step what you got to do. Okay, and I know everybody's kind of busy and all that, but you know, once things get going, there's like long pauses, you know, in between where things happen and stuff, and I think once you get that and it's done, you'll feel like you've accomplished something, you know, big, and it is, because it requires, you got to be patient, because you're dealing with you know, federal workers and stuff like that, and thanks to Trump, you know, their workload is more. So I would suggest, you know, if you can, to try to get one. Okay, it's not going to hurt you to get one. In fact, you know, I think, and a lot of times, you know, if your driver's license expires, which I think it does before even a passport, The cops will accept the passport, you know, because your picture's on that and everything's just like a regular driver's license, because the passport card looks just like a driver's license card. They accept that too, and you can always have that as a backup or something. But, you know, it's a good thing to have. And when assholes like Trump are sitting here putting pressure on people to prove who they are, you'll have that, okay, and it's going to be hard to refute it, you know. So I would encourage people to go and do that, okay? But look it up first. Make sure you follow the instructions so you don't skip a step, you know, and make sure it's done. You know, that's all I could say. That's what I had to do. I mean, yeah, it was you know, at times. I mean, of course, you know, I wasn't doing a job or anything like that where I had to schedule everything around, but I got through it, you know. And oh yeah, April 5th, the Indivisible, which is a group of protesters, they're going to have a big nationwide protest being held on April the 5th. And, you know, it's all against Trump and everything what's been going on. So, you know, look it up online. If you for April 5th, you'll probably see where there'll be a protest somewhere near you or wherever. And I just thought, you know, if you're you know, angry and stuff, and you want your voice heard or something, and you want to find people like-minded to do that, then do it. You know, join one of these protests here. Another thing you can do if you really don't want to travel too far, people have been getting postcards and mailing them to their representatives, or mailing them to, you know, people in Washington or something like that, expressing, you know, their anger at what's going on. And apparently they've been getting flooded with all kinds of postcards. So you might want to pick one up somewhere and just write something on the back of it and send it, throw it in the fucking mail. You know, it may do no good, but, you know, it makes you feel like you've tried to do something anyway, okay, have yourself heard. Or you can just do phone calls or emails, you know, I don't know. Phone calls, if you're leaving a message, you get the feeling that no one's ever going to hear it, you know. But anyway, okay, let's go to a commercial break, and we'll come back with the next video here.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
Feeling my husband with 8 inches was like reliving our first time. Thanks to the salt trick, he makes me gush like a broken pipe. And just last month, I was ready to divorce my husband. But then he showed me his new 8-inch magic wand. Now, I can barely hold it in my hand. This salt trick is hands down the biggest advantage any man can have heading into 2025. I wasn't kidding when I said you should take it easy with this trick. It can turn a sad little twig into a raging anaconda. It's ridiculously simple. And it's heartbreaking to see so many men missing out on the chance to finally make their women happy. So far, this easy homemade trick has helped over 29,000 men naturally increase both size and thickness. This is the same secret top-paid adult film actors use to keep their bats way above average. It's also how they manage to handle 3, 4, or even 5 women in a row without losing their stamina. The best part? It works for men of all ages, takes just 30 seconds before bed, and can give you some incredible results in no time. If you want to skip the details and go straight to the video, just click the Watch Now button below to learn how to pull off this simple but powerful trick tonight. You should probably watch it alone, if you know what I mean. Don't waste any more time. Watch it before it gets taken down or you can't find this video anymore. Your wife or girlfriend will thank you for the rest of her life.
Hello, Daniel Caldwell. This is the VA Crisis Response Hotline. We're calling to inform you that your emergency request for in-person counseling or PTSD has been denied. To stop fraud, waste, and abuse, these services will be replaced by VetCare AI, powered by Grok, an X company. President Trump and Doge Chairman Musk, thank you for your service and being part of our efforts to eliminate waste. Have a nice day. Press 1 to repeat this message. Press 2 to return to main menu. Press 3 to leave a message, and an AI operator will call you back if your problem is deemed unwasteful. Goodbye.
Hello, it's your favorite president. Now that I made all our deportation dreams come true, we reclaimed every single job that was taken by illegal immigrants. And let me tell you, folks, there were so many. I call them brown jobs. Jobs we were born to do and do what Americans do best.
I carry this old guy to the bathroom about 3 times a day. I gotta go.
And now America can get back to work like it's never done before.
I used to stay home and watch Real Housewives, but now I got to work 3 shifts in a row.
I hate other people's children and their poop.
So let's get busy, America. Go do all those brown jobs you wanted so much.
Let's go, ladies. Those beds won't change themselves.
Uno, dos, tres.
And show the rest of the world what we are made of. Look at me, I'm doing a brown job too, but just for 10 minutes.
It was the greatest honor. Hero of the Soviet Union, awarded to those who gave their all to defend the motherland. Today, it is the hero of the Russian Federation. The men and women who have served the motherland's interests with great honor and distinction. Marco Rubio.
We're going to need to have functional embassies in Moscow and in Washington.
Tulsi Gabbard.
According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens.
J.D. Vance.
I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
And the greatest hero of our time, Donald Trump. These heroes know Russia is a peaceful nation that will never bow down to the decadent American values of what they call democracy. Remember them. Let history record their names amongst the greatest of our heroes. Never forget, they live in our hearts forever.
Better trade is crumbling faster than a colonnade. Trump got a name, while his voters are all left in the shade. Grandma's unpaid and can't afford a single hospice stay. All her nursing aides left as she suffers through her final days. Out in the red states where the good old flags do always wave, a farmer's wage can't cover his chance, so he should dig a grave. His anti-government ways won't get him out of this malaise. And his doctors say, come see me when you can pay. Ooh, we need a Medicaid. Libs always crying that it's worth a save, but I thought it was for blue welfare states, not MAGA folks who go to Trump parades. A small town baby with 3 kids all after football games would get their doctor stays covered after the hardest plays. And her preacher says God provides, but her copay's unpaid. So she's home today, fixing broken bones with some band-aids. Medicaid ain't just some welfare line. As hospitals open its coverage in time, It's kids with asthma, veterans in pain. It's small town clinics trying to stay in the game. That blue collar sage working for his minimum wage. Lost his job today, so he hopes to turn the page. But no one is gonna save, cause the safety net just went away. Guess that's just the way in Trump's America today. Who needed Medicaid? Libs always crying that it's worth the same. But I thought it was for blue welfare states, not MAGA folks who buy Trump's hats and hotel stays. Guess that's just the way in Trump's America today. Yes, that's just the way in Trump's America today.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Neuberger.
Who, me?
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it. It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I see this headline here that says the billionaire bloodbath. U.S. billionaires have lost $415 billion under Trump so far, and counting. Okay, and I'm thinking, okay, so I thought the billionaires were so sure that Trump was their guy that they backed his campaign so he could, run for president, and win. And he promised them tax cuts. And now, it's showing that, hey, you know what? These billionaires are losing money here since Trump took over, and it's getting worse. So I'm thinking, hey, if you're hurting people in the wallet, which is someplace you never want to hurt somebody, especially when you're talking about greedy people, if you're hurting them in their wallets, they're not going to be your friend very fucking long. Okay, they really aren't. And I'm just, do these people wonder why, why these things are happening, and why everything Trump had promised them that they were going to do, that he was going to do, is really not going to make much difference for them, even if he cuts, the big tax cut. At the end of the day, they're not going to have money anyway. So it's the tax cut might just have them break even, and they still won't have anything. But certainly they're not going to be happy with Trump doing what he's doing here, so anyway, this other video I have is from Raw News and Politics, and she's going to show some messages that were left by people who sat out the election and didn't vote, and now how a lot of these people are kicking themselves squarely in the balls because they did not vote. And it'd be interesting, for it just to hear those messages. So let's go to that here, and we'll talk about that on the other side.
Welcome to the show. So I have some new regrets to share with you guys, but these aren't Trump voters. So over on Reddit, someone had asked how people are feeling who didn't vote in the 2024 election. Now, honestly, most of these comments were kind of snarky in the comment section, kind of immature, saying, oh, we're so proud. I feel great for sitting out the election, or I feel good about voting for Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people, though, who genuinely feel remorseful. So these are the posts that I'm going to share with you, the ones who actually get it and feel bad. And this was a while back, I should say. So there may be some change of heart, now that things are biting them in the butt. But anyway, the other people can just go to hell if they still don't regret it. So one person said, quote, honestly, I felt too uneducated on things. I definitely should have voted, and this election opened my eyes. Another person simply responded with, quote, I feel stupid. Another user commented, quote, I didn't vote for president. I have a hard time with the whole lesser of two evils. However, now I feel like absolute shit and regret that decision more than ever. I've made a promise to myself to never let that happen again. Well, at least they're learning, right? The next person posted a very lengthy comment, so I'm just going to give you the highlights and cut it down so you can read it more easily. So they wrote that they're mostly politically neutral and dislike the Electoral College and the divide in the country, but, quote, this is the first time I feel that this axis has been shifted to the point where it no longer feels like rebelling against a system designed to divide a nation is the top priority. I now feel an extreme level of guilt, and my fears about the fate of our economy is at the bottom of the list. The thing I'm most worried about now is the safety of everyone of ethnic or racial diversity in the United States. As a white male, with what I consider are a good set of objective moral beliefs, devoid of any religious or political biases, I feel like I have failed so many people. I wish there were some way I could publicly apologize to all of the millions of people whose lives have been ruined or have been or will be ruined in the coming months/years. I have a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach because I know I made the wrong choice this time by not voting. So, if you ever see this guy who did not vote and feels so sick to your stomach, would be happy to have you on. You can at least apologize to my viewers. You'll at least reach some people. The next person wrote, quote, my son-in-law, who was born in South America, called me crying yesterday. He was pulled over by police 3 times in one day to check his license and registration. He lives in the Tampa area. He voted for Trump in 2016, sat out for 2024 elections. He's a good guy, going to law school and works as a case manager at a law firm. No criminal record. He's completely confused about why all of a sudden he's being treated this way. We had a good talk, and at the end, I said, welcome to being liberal. We care about you. So she didn't obviously sit out the election, but he did, and now he's regretting it. Another person said that they didn't vote due to depression and feeling like nothing mattered at that time. But then they went on to say, quote, well, as it turns out, it did matter and things absolutely can get worse. And now when I see what is happening, I feel worse than before when I chose to avoid it. Now I feel like I can't avoid it. This world and America feels insane, and it bums me out that so many people can't see that. I absolutely regret not voting and doing my part. Another Reddit user responded to the question with, quote, I regret it. It was because I didn't feel as if there was actually a choice to be made. I see now how stupid I was. This year has marked the beginning of my political awareness and hopefully my involvement. I mean, we hope that that happened after 2016, but I'll take the new converts. The next person wrote that they have, quote, nothing but regret. And, quote, my decision to abstain is currently one of the biggest regrets. But they said that after Biden dropped out, they didn't feel that they had enough information about Harris to make a responsible choice. And then they ended it with, quote, but I fear it was less responsible of me to not vote against Trump based on principle, which I wish I could have realized sooner. I am truly sorry that I did not vote. And then someone else replied with, quote, I live in Indiana and honestly felt that my vote didn't matter. That being said, I regret it and feel like I was part of the problem. It won't ever happen again, but that doesn't really ease the sneaking suspicion that I was a whole piece of shit for being so apathetic towards something that really mattered. Live and learn. So someone else replied to the question with, quote, I didn't necessarily abstain, but procrastinated voting until it was too late. I am extremely disappointed in myself for procrastinating something so extremely important, and I am reminded of it every single time I see a new update on what he is doing. One other woman commented, quote, my husband didn't vote. He wishes he did. 100% regrets that decision. Don't know why she didn't tell him and make him vote. Anyway, another person said that they live in a deep red state and they have a difficult time with mail for some reason, like receiving mail, sending mail, something about their living situation. And then they added an edit to their comment and they said, quote, as for how I feel, horrified. I'd flee the country now if I could afford to. This next person said, quote, I am feeling like an asshole. I actually didn't deliberately abstain. I just waited until the actual day. Then I had to work late and couldn't get to the polls on time. From now on, it's early voting all the way. Another Reddit user posted a very long explanation for why they forgot to check their mail. And then they ended the post with, quote, and yes, I do regret not voting because Trump is a million times worse than I anticipated. Keep in mind, these were like from a month ago. So it's gotten even worse since then. So I'm sure these people are reeling at this point. Another woman said that she was dealing with a domestic violence situation, also mental health issues, the hurricane, and 2 deaths in the family, all while taking care of her kids. So, I mean, we can really understand why this woman didn't get in her vote. But she said in the end, quote, I deeply, deeply regret not making the time to go. I mean, if there's ever anybody that we can give a pass to, it's someone like that. Another person simply responded with one word, regret. And then another person explained that they didn't plan ahead adequately. And they said, quote, I silenced myself. I will not make that mistake again. And another Reddit user wrote, quote, I was scared to because of my family. My family is very conservative and I don't agree with their values. I know voter info is confidential, but they would have found out. I regret not sticking up to them and I'm sorry. Would love to speak with that person and see if their family members have had any second thoughts. Another Reddit user said that they moved to another state and they weren't aware of their voter registration deadline in the new state, but, quote, it's my fault, but I still feel guilty about it, or still feel really guilty about it. Another user cited mental health issues also and posted, quote, I have indeed fucked up. Shame on me. I will do better. I promise. This next person said that they've thought Republicans and Democrats were two sides of the same coin, but they said that they now feel, quote unquote, terrible, end quote. Apparently, I was wrong. I didn't expect it to be this bad. Maybe I trusted the checks and balances too much. I'm not sure. I do know this is way worse than I ever imagined. And if I had known better, I'd have done a lot different. If there's another opportunity, I will 100% be voting. Another person went on a long rant about how Harris would have only delayed a Trump presidency by 4 years. But then, I mean, if the guy's even alive. And then they said that they put their absentee ballot in a drawer and then forgot about it. But they said, quote, I'm still pissed I was wrong and never mailed in my completed ballot. This next person wrote, quote, I definitely wish I did. I moved out and got my own place recently. Honestly, I just got super caught up with moving and that I didn't really have the time to focus on politics. I regret not voting. It might not have changed anything, but it would feel better knowing I at least tried to do something. Then I found this last one on a Reddit page talking about federal workers being fired by Trump. And this person wrote, quote, I am seeking a Fed position and didn't vote, and I regret it. I was busy that day, but that's by no means an excuse. I feel like I've betrayed my country and Constitution by not doing my duty, sad face emoji. So, yeah, a lot of regrets for a lot of reasons, but yeah, these were unique in that people are realizing like, yeah, I really should have gotten my ass to the polls or figured it out. And I mean, come on, guys, early voting and mail-in ballots are so widespread now. It is so easy in so many states that you don't even have to leave the house. You literally just have to stick it in the mail. They even put the postage on it for you. So there's really no excuse. Like I said, that one woman, yeah, domestic violence, dealing with children, mental health, deaths in the family, the hurricane. Yeah, she's about the only one that gets a pass. So anyway, I will let you know if I hear any more of these types of regrets. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. Thank you so much. Love you all. Please like this video, share it with others, give them a little boost of happiness. Become a subscriber. It is a free way for you to help the show. Literally costs you nothing. Just click the subscribe button down below the video. Hit the notification bells and you'll get notified of all my videos like this. And if you can donate, really appreciate it. Love you all.
Government deficit rose by 4% in Trump's first month in office, despite the efforts of Doge. And the UBS says the U.S. is slashing confidence, not spending. So, in other words, everything Trump said that, Doge was for and all this and that, okay, it's not helping. The deficit rose. Even with all these things that he did in his first month, okay, it's not getting better. So people, the idea that Doge exists and that they're promising they're going to cut fat off of the system and all that, it's just talk. Like everything Trump does, it's just a fucking talk. That's all it is. It's just a scam. He's peddling something again, trying to sell you things that are a lemon. Okay, this Doge doesn't mean anything good anyway for this country. And chances are that by the time this year is over, we're going to be sitting in another fucking recession, maybe even a depression, and nothing is going to ever improve. While he's doing what he's doing. I don't know. They just and then you hear about there's a $5.5 billion deal that the U.S. Had with some ally, and now the ally's backing away from it because they don't trust Trump. And I feel like hey, there's global implications about what Trump is doing. Okay, And we were told during the campaign last year how reckless and unskilled Trump is or was as a businessman, and why he went bankrupt 6 times. Okay, we were told this over and over again, repeatedly. Even Kamala mentioned that. Okay, and even though you can prove that like that, all you gotta do is Google it, okay, and you're gonna see all the fucking problems that Donald Trump had. In fact, if you just type in his fucking name in Wikipedia, you're gonna get all the lowdown on his failed business practices. Okay, so it's easily proven, okay? We're not making this shit up. So the fact that we were told this over and over again, and at the same time, one of the big issues that were on people's mind was cost of living, okay? The prices of things going up. And him saying he can fix that. Tariffs this, tariffs that, he was gonna fix it all. And people trusted him, that he knew what he was doing. Knowing the guy has lied about just about everything, in those the last 4 years while he was campaigning. Everything that he said was either a fabrication, an exaggeration, or an outright lie. I mean, it was just, that's all he did through his campaign. And yet, people showed up to his rallies. Some of them were getting sick of his rallies because his fucking messages were always the same. But they were still, trusting him that he was going to fix the problems of their lives. And within the first month, okay, and he said on day one, right, he was in the first month, he's actually increased the deficit, and he's causing businesses to lose billions of fucking dollars. Okay, billions with a B. And then he's proposing funding cuts for Social Security and Medicaid and all these things that people are currently depending on, okay? People need these things. And he's cutting that. I asked these folks who trusted him and voted for him, do you still trust him and would vote for him now? Because I know some of you voters out there that voted for him, okay? You people, some of you have been affected by what he's done so far. And I know some of you are not happy about that, okay? I see what the farmers have been saying, and they're mad as hell. They're trying to, get Trump to listen to them, and he ain't listening, okay? And these people, Latinos who voted for Trump, some of them rounded up and deported, okay, families and all. And, it's just, I have to wonder, you people, you voted for him, you thought it was smart, you thought he was honest, you thought he was this and that and everything else, and you're finding out, no, what he told you, okay, and what's happening are 2 different things. All right? He made it seem good for you if you allowed him to do this, but you didn't think it was going to impact you. And I feel like, what do they say, fuck around and find out? Well, we're in a find out phase for a lot of people, and yet there's still more people out there who haven't been impacted yet by Trump, but they will be before the year is out. So some of you people who are still firmly entrenched in supporting Trump, you're next. Okay, you're next. Believe me, you're next. You're going to be impacted in some fucking way. And it doesn't matter what kind of job you're holding. It doesn't. Trump could just get up tomorrow morning and say, okay, I'm going to get rid of this, and you're not going to know why, or you're going to be pissed that there was no warning given, which is how he's been running things up to this point. No warning given. And you all of a sudden, you ain't got a fucking job. I can't imagine what that would be like for people who are aware of what Trump's capable of, how they can sleep at night. And the Republicans, even during the campaign, there were some Republicans who learned their lesson from Trump and were saying, Kamala's a much better choice to be president. but there weren't enough Republicans to actually convince other Republicans that that was true. But you know, it's because at the same time, you know, the Republicans, they got their own bullshit out there, propaganda, and they made people turn against each other. When a Republican come out and said something positive about Kamala, well, then they turned everybody against them. Instead of listening to the person and hearing their reason why they were supporting Kamala over Trump, instead of listening, no, we're not going to let you listen. You just all of a sudden, okay, these people are traitors. Don't listen to them. Okay? Ain't that something that, you know, like, what was it in that movie 1984? Whenever somebody was trying to say something against the party, everybody would scream and shout so you wouldn't hear a fucking word they were saying. Okay? That's the same thing. We're doing it. That's what people, Republicans, were doing. They were, before the person who they consider a traitor could even get a word out, they were told not to listen. They're turncoat. They're not even a Republican. You know, they are traitors. Okay? And so they didn't have to listen to it. But you see what all that tactic only did was just ruin the country even further. Because you people fell for that bullshit. Okay? I'm talking to MAGA. Because you MAGA nuts out there fell for that hogwash of not listening to people who are trying to tell you why they chose Kamala over Trump. You didn't want to hear it. Okay? When you did that, you condemned yourself to the plight that you're going to be living under or living under already. Okay? That's what happens when you turn politics into a fucking sport. All right? That's what happens when you do that. Because when you don't take it serious, okay, then nothing that's said or done in politics is serious to you until it affects you. And that's the reason why it's so important for people to stay active in politics and to get out and vote. If the vote didn't matter, okay, if the vote didn't matter anymore, like a lot of Republicans are trying to make you feel like it doesn't matter, if it's true, then why are they spending so much time purging, sabotaging, and gerrymandering districts to turn the vote more their way? Why is it that they're doing this if it doesn't matter to them? Because it does matter. The votes do matter. They wouldn't be wasting money and time on trying to fix or try to rig the game so much in their favor if they didn't think votes didn't matter. Okay, if they felt that way, they never would be doing this. So they do matter. Elections and votes do matter to them. And that's really the reason why all of this shit has started in that party and with the Republicans. Their paranoia that they're not going to win any more elections. They're not going to win it because they know the tide of this country is towards Democrats. People don't really have a majority opinion or a majority coalesced around something Republicans stand for. They're always in the minority. Even the abortion ban, okay, was not a majority win. The majority of the country, over 80% of this country, does not believe that there should be bans on abortion. Okay? So what do? You got to silence, what, 40%? And how do you do that? You fuck with the voting process to keep them from from being heard. That's what you do. That's what they've been doing. And so these people who sat out the election, okay, they're all mad now because of the fact that, hey, everything is not turning out the way they thought it would, and that was because they weren't paying attention to what people were saying in the Democrat Party. They weren't paying attention to that. Okay, everything that we said that was going to happen is happening right now. We told you about Project 2025. We showed you the kind of man Trump is, because I guess character doesn't matter anymore to Republicans. It used to, but not anymore now. But character matters, and we tried to explain that to you. You wouldn't listen about that either. Okay, we tried to tell you about he's a criminal, and he's broke the law, and he lies under oath, and he does all these things. That didn't matter to you either. Okay, so character, honesty, integrity, and ability didn't matter to you. You just knew he was the guy, even though you couldn't really convince anybody that he was. You just knew he was the one. And so all we're left to think is that, well, you guys just supported him because he's a Republican. That was it. Nothing else. It's just, you're just, the sport mentality of elections is why you were doing what you were doing, okay? You just want to own the libs. And here's the thing, you know, the ones that said they won't sit out another election, well, okay. Hopefully there will be another election allowed. That Trump is in office right now and he's talking about wanting to stay. Okay, you know, maybe you learned your lesson, but it might be too late because you may not get a chance to prove that you're going to vote in the next election because that election will be taken away from you. That's the, you know, reality of why it is that you have to listen and take these elections serious. It's not it's not games, it's not fucking bullshit, it's not a cartoon, okay? These are serious things, serious civic duties that we have to take as citizens because we're Americans, all right? We have to do these things. And I don't give a shit what your excuse is why you didn't show up and vote, okay? I really don't care. You know, whenever I was in school and I didn't have my homework or something like that, and I tried to give an excuse, the teacher would say that. I don't care what your excuse is, okay? You were supposed to do your homework and you didn't do it, okay? So you get a 0. Same thing when it comes to this, okay? There is no excuse for not voting. I don't care what it is that made you, I mean, we have so many ways that you can get your vote out there. You don't need to have an excuse. Early voting. Okay, showing up before the election is just to get your name out there and fill out a ballot. Okay, there's no reason there's no reason to be made about that. And I don't care if you lose your fucking job because you took time to go vote. You can sue the goddamn boss for punishing you for having exercised your civic right. Okay, and if they don't like that, fuck them. That's a job you don't even want to be working at. But everybody has to take the time to vote. You know, everybody. And I don't, like I said, I don't care what your excuse is. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care if somebody was dying the day of the election, okay? It doesn't take long to go and vote, okay? And like I said, early voting. Get it out of the way so it doesn't become a headache, okay? You won't be standing in a fucking line, okay? Just go and do it. Christ. I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I don't need to, but I do it anyway, just so I could say, oh, I did it, you know. So it's not nagging in the back of my mind to go vote. I just say, okay, well, it's just, you know, a couple of weeks away. I'm going to go and vote now. And I get it done. Okay? I'm not one of those kind of people. When something's got to be done, get it done. Don't wait. If you wait till the last minute, you may not be able to get your chance to do it. Why take the risk? Okay, why take the risk? So yeah, I mean, it's something that people should understand when it comes to your civic duty. A cop pulls you over, okay, for some traffic reason, and if you say, well, I didn't know that was a law, guess what? You're still getting that ticket. You're still getting the ticket. No excuse is allowed, you know, for not knowing about a law. If you violate the law and you didn't know there was a law, that's not an excuse. You're still going to get punished. That's what it means to be an adult. You don't get second chances. Okay? All right. So I guess that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great work week. And subscribe, comment, share. Keep your ears open for health-related issues. And treat each other kindly out there. Be neighborly, be supportive, be helpful. I'll talk to you guys later, so take care, everybody.